Gaffer, how are we doing on this cold Wednesday evening?
Cold, mate, but we're alright. We're alright.
I'm going to say, you're making the girls run extra hard tonight then to make up for it?
Yeah, I'm in a bad mood, Kieran, so they're running a bit more. They're running a bit more.
I'm going to say they must have quite a lot of built-up energy. You know, it's quite frustrating that you've not been able to get the girls out on the pitch after that Bedworth defeat a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's lingering. I think you can tell with girls tonight, everybody just wants to get out now. We've got a result to put behind us and we're working hard. We've got different things to try, but weather's killing us. And that's it. We
did speak before Christmas about the planning for this build-up of games being called off. Did you expect to have so many already?
No, if I'm honest, no, I didn't. I think the snow's probably hit us at the wrong time as well. And then you've got ones that we've had that are flooded. So in theory, we've played one game in now, 8 weeks, which is it's hard for any side. And I'm not making excuses, but we had a dodgy 20 minutes at Bedworth, and that might have been part of it.
Do you think that it's lucky though that in the early parts of the season you were able to get those fixtures completed, whereas other clubs are still tracking even further behind?
Yes and no, because we're still in 2 cup competitions where a lot of teams aren't. So you've got to take them into consideration. We'll get that build up now. We're going to have to play midweekers, which is always difficult when it's a voluntary position and you've got to drag people from work, and especially with girls coming from Lincoln and Sheffield and things like that, you've got to try and get them in and get your strongest squad out. So it'll be difficult, but it's a job we've got to do.
Talking about numbers, it's obviously January now, and in men's football there's a lot of talk about transfers and stuff like that. But women's football, especially this league, it's different. Can you explain the system that the football have there?
In terms of transfers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like any non-league football in terms of like your conference, apart from your conference and stuff like that. That there's no transfer window. The transfer window runs from June all the way through to March. So you can sign any player at any time as long as you go by the rules, which is 7 days. After the 7 days, you can speak to any player.
So I'm going to say, I've just asked you to explain that because we're going to move on now. You've obviously signed Emma Day recently. I know she was not signed to a club,
yeah.
But with it being this mid-season now, and you know kind of more of a better idea where you're going to finish next year,
yep.
Have you got any ideas for players and positions you want to strengthen already?
For this year or next year? Or
for both?
Yeah, I think I'd be wrong not to think about next year. We've got a few that we'd like to target. We obviously know we're weak, or weaker than what we are. So yeah, that's a position that we'll look at. But we're still looking for a few this year. I expect one to be signed by Sunday.
Really?
So yeah, there'll be one signed by Sunday, hopefully, touch wood, if Alan decides to pull his finger out. Yeah, so hopefully there'll be one signed for Sunday.
Do you think it's easier or harder being a club such as Mansfield that's got that reputation of having the ground that they play at, the big team there, that you can help sign players, or is it a hindrance in the fact that it's a big reputation to go along with it?
Women's football's different. I think that's the one thing I have felt since I've come into women's football is more often than not women want to play with their friends. So in men's football you can drag somebody about because of a reputation or something that you're trying to achieve or do. A lot of women don't see that. They go, well actually I'm playing with my mates, and it's harder to prize them away. That's why we've done really well in pre-season to bring as many as we have in. But if anything, it'd be a boost. If you can say, look, we're Mansfield Town, this is what we're trying to achieve, then it makes it a little bit easier than I would think that other clubs have.
I've spoken to a number of the girls already, like this season, and a lot of them speak about the good community feel the club have. Do you think that's another plus, though, to bringing people in?
Yeah, I think if you have a look at everybody, right down from Alan and the chairman, and right down to me, and then right down to the players, I think everybody's got that kind of feeling about them. I don't think anybody is there above anybody, and we'll kind of get on out of football. So that does make it a lot easier. And it also makes, when you do bring a new player in, that it's easier for them to gel. Obviously we've had a massive gelling thing this year. We've gelled probably 30 players, which is huge, and we have to remember that going on this year, that 30 new players have come in and not played together. That's a massive task. So yeah, it becomes a little bit easier. The community feeling here is good.
We're going to talk a bit more about the planning though, because obviously with it being the new year and we are starting to think of the future for next season and onwards, the club's made a lot of growth, as you spoke about there. What's the plans going forward for the next 12 months? Is there more progression behind the scenes?
Yeah, I think there has to be. I think you've got to grow. I'm hoping that there'll be more youth teams. I think we've got to strengthen both teams. I think if we don't, then you stand still. And I've said that whatever success you get, or at any level, you look at any level, you look at Premier League, you look at Mansfield League, if you get success, you can't stand still because everybody else improves. And I think we'll have to do that as well. But if we improve at the rate of knots that we have done in the last 12 months, then we're going to take some catching.
I'm trying to wrap things up now, but obviously this is the time where I talk about this weekend's fixture, and unfortunately due to match abandonments in the Cup last week, we won't have a game as of yet because of our opponents having their Cup game. But you told me earlier on that there's a potential game that the FA is sorting?
Well, hopefully the league will pull through it. It might not happen, but there's only 2 games in our league, I believe, so there's a few teams that we've still got to play. It might not happen with it being so late now. But no, that's another frustrating thing, and that's what happens when Cup games get called off. They go back and back and back, and before you know it, you're 2 or 3 league games away again. Before we know it, it'll be the 10th of February and we're playing midweekers already. So we need to get games in. More often than not, we're on a loss, and nobody likes that here. We're not really used to it. I know I think we've lost 3 all year, but I think a lot of teams in my position will take 3 losses all year.
Definitely, but the only thing I was going to say is, obviously with tactics, you've started to try some new tactics the last game. Is it harder not having to know who the opponent is if you've got a potential game, and the fact that you can't really plan for certain counter-attacking tactics?
I don't look at any other teams, to be honest, Kieran. I think I'm quite positive in what I do. And I've said since the start, since I've been here, it's all about us. And I think if we get it right, we're a match for anybody. And if you look at, I think that's probably a fair statement, because the games that we have lost, we've not got it right. I don't think when we've played Long Eaton and drew, we got it right on the day, and we got a bit unlucky. The other 2 games we didn't get it right, we got outbeat. But the games we've won, it's because we've done that well, not because they've outdone us or outthought us or we've outthought them. We've just gone and outplayed them. So now it's about us and what we do right, and if we do the basics right and we do what we're asked, we'll win games. Okay,
and you'll be happy to know, if we haven't got an opponent, I can't ask you for a score prediction. I might as well even ask you for a team prediction who they might play.
Rice Park.
Rice Park.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. Good luck.